Hey everybody, and welcome back to Blender. In this video we're going to look at setting up and lighting a scene. Before I get started, a huge thank you to everyone for subscribing and hitting that notification icon. That really helps me out. And of course an even bigger thank you to my members and patrons. Your names will be running across the bottom of the screen at the end of the video. So let's jump right into this. We've got our objects left over from our last scene, and what we can do is we can make things look a little bit more funky just by adding some light. So what we can do is we can actually click on this viewport shading and viewport shading render preview option. We can just hit that and then we can see our render preview. And if we zoom out a little bit, we can see here we've got a light just there. So let's back in. Then we can just rotate our scene around a little bit better. You can see what we're doing. And if we were to move this around in our scene, you can see that it's actually showing us what our render is going to look like. And what we can do is if we use the properties pane on the right hand side here, we can actually change the details of our light. For example, we can change its color. So we can go, I don't know, whatever color you want. Let's go with a funky kind of blue light just there. And if we were to change our orientation slightly, we can actually move this across so that it looks something like that, which is really cool. And we can duplicate this light by pressing Shift and D, and we can just create another one, say over here. And then if we wanted to, we could change the color of this one so that it's yellow, and then that gives us kind of quite a nice looking effect over there. Or alternatively, we can go to add, and then at the bottom here where it says light, we can add light, and we can change it. Maybe let's go for an area light, and an area light works fairly similarly to a point light, except that it only points in one direction. So we can rotate this object like this, that way, and then obviously you can't see a great deal at the moment, but if we were to up the intensity of that light, we could start to see the impact that it's having. Now we just have to check that we're actually pointed at our object. We can spin it that way a little bit. And we can move that in closer. Now you can see that it's starting to have an effect. And we can continue to use our rotate tool if we want to change the way it's pointing at, but as you can see, that's essentially what's happening there. One thing that you can do if you want to get a better feel for what's going on in your scene is you can add a floor. So if we click on the add at the top of the window, and we can just simply add a plane like that, and then if we increase the size to make it absolutely massive like that, then we can move ourselves around our scene. We can actually see what's going on, and then obviously we can use our move tool to move our light sources around, and you can see the shadows moving with them, as well as the intensity of the light and that specific light color, which is so pretty funky. So we can come right up close to there like that. We get some really like funky effects here. I actually quite like the look of this. I think that actually looks really nice. The next thing that we're going to want to do is to actually change our camera view. So what we've got here is we can actually toggle the camera view, and as you can see it says shortcut numpad 0. So if you've got a number pad on your keyboard, just hit 0 and it will allow you to jump into that view. Like so. And of course, if you've got the number pad, you can actually jump and change between your different views quite nicely, which is a really handy way of making yourself jump around to different views very quickly. Now you can move your camera around the scene by using the move tool when you're in one of the other views. But what you can also do is press the N key to bring up the numbers menu like so, and then in the view tool there, what you can actually do is set camera to view, and that will give you a nice yellow dotted line around your camera view. And then using your standard view control moves, such as middle mouse button like that, shift and middle mouse for that one, and of course control the middle mouse button to zoom in and out like that, you can actually move yourself around and set up your view like so, and the camera is going with you. And I just find this method a much simpler way of framing everything and setting up your scene, and it just allows you to be able to get a real-time picture of what is actually going to come out when you render the image. And lastly, of course, when you're finished, when you're happy with your camera positioning, remember to switch off camera to view, otherwise you'll accidentally end up moving it all over the place. So now that we've got this far, we will pretty much be ready to render out our image in the next episode. Thanks very much for watching this one, guys, though. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. But until then, you take really good care of yourselves, guys. Bye-bye.